Crafty Creations. You can find me on Facebook. This is the piece that we're making today, and it is the goddess bracelet that we made last month, but I've adapted it to be a stretch bracelet. So what you need are your 6mm beads, crystals, pearls, glass. I'm using glass beads today, little blue ones, they're really pretty. Some rings that are just smaller, just smaller. My brain went there for a moment. Just smaller than your stone or your bead so that they don't fall through. So I don't know if you can see that well. And then a large hole bead, a spacer bead or whatever you want to call them, to hide your knot because you don't want the knot showing. So today I also have, and I'm going to switch cameras now. I think we're ready. So there's a lot of stuff on my mat. So I want to make sure you can see everything well. Okay, so I have my beads, my rings, my spacer, and it's just big hole so that you can hide your knot. Okay, I'm going to bring this up in a minute. Now I also have what are called rondelles, and they're very pretty, and you can see how lovely, oops, how lovely they will look in between. I'm just trying to angle it here so you can see, like so. I'm going to try these. Now the only thing I can think of as a problem is that the hole going through is a lot smaller than this, so we may not have as good a zigzag. So I'm going to try them. I also have this beautiful blingy spacer bead that I'll try. This is the one, so you can picture the spacer bead, spacer bar on it. It would just look lovely. I'm going to prop my camera up a little bit, and I need to put something under it so it doesn't just slide right back. I learned that one. Okay, and that's perfect. All right, to start, we need our 0.7 or 0.07, no, 0.7 elastic. I like the Crystal Tech. It's cheap, it's cheerful, it's just a really good product. Now, what I like to do is just wrap it around my wrist twice, crossing it, just to give myself a lot of extra. You don't want to be trying to tie a knot at the end and have it really, really tight, and you're just struggling and you lose your beads. That happens. So I'm going to set that apart. Now, remember when we did the goddess bracelet? I'll just go over it a little bit. We started with different wire, beading wire. We used a wire guardian, then a crimp bead, crimp cover, and we started right in the center of our piece. This time we're just starting with a bead. So if you put a bead into the center, I'm sorry, you know me with these little stones and crystals, they are a little bit harder to see. So I'm just going to hold both of my ends together. I have the one bead on, and let's try this, the rondelle ones. I may have to put it through one strand at a time just to get it. Okay, I'm gonna hold it. I think this one might be a little bit too fussy to do on camera, but I'll do a couple of tries and just see how it looks. It's hard when your thread is, your elastic is pretty much invisible. The rings I can do in 2 seconds. Let me just try one more time. Maybe if I have a different color behind me. Yeah, that worked. Okay, so I'm just going to drop it down. And, oh, it still only went on one. Sorry. I'll try that again. I even have my good glasses on, folks. Like I said, it might be that the hole won't work because it's not a big hole. All right, well, we can do those another time. All right, I'm going to hold my 2 pieces together, and I'm going to put one of my rings on. Now you can use jump rings. Just make sure they're closed perfectly. I just have these really cute little solid rings that I have in my stash. I picked them up from Marianne a few years ago when I was teaching this class to a great big group. Oops. I should have bought colored elastic. I think it may have helped me here.
You could try coloring the ends with Sharpie.
Yeah, I don't have one over here, unfortunately, or else I might. There we go. I was having issues with my eye last week, but I was doing much better today. So I was surprised that it's giving me a hard time. All right, so I put the ring through over both of them. Now I'm going to pick a side and put a stone on, or a crystal.
So you put only one first for both, right?
Yes. So it's like so. Oops, stop spinning. So it's 1 bead, 1 ring, 1 bead, and then another ring. And the next bead will go on whichever strand we haven't done. You'll see what I mean in a second. Oh, that went through perfectly the first time. Okay, so if you look, it's already starting to zigzag. So we have there. And if we pull our strings apart, you'll see this one was used for this bead. So we want to put a bead on this one. We just switch sides each time. It's very, very simple.
But the ring goes through both strings?
Yes, that's what gives it the zigzag pattern.
Lori, can you do it slowly?
I thought I was. Okay, sorry. I hate beading in front of people, like the stringing part. I like the design part, but the stringing, I always feel like I'm just, sitting here stringing. Okay, so again, it's a single, then the ring, and then it doesn't matter which one this goes on, left or right, because that's your deciding one at that point. So just put it on either, and then a ring, and then the opposite side is this. So if this went through the right-hand string, this one goes through the left-hand string. Okay, and now I'm going to add another ring. And I may just make this a little bigger than normal, just because I may give it to my sister for Christmas. All right, so we have that through. Now you can see my last bead went on this side, so my next one is going on this side.
So are the rings going over 2 strings every time?
Every time.
Okay.
So that's what gives it the pretty little zigzag. It forces it back and forth. Whoops. I chose these beads because they have a bigger hole so I can see them easier. I tried bringing out my little magnifier, but it just made it really awkward. So. Okay, I can see the hole. I can see the thread. Yeah, the crystals I was using the other day to make this one bracelet that I was wearing at the beginning, they were so small. I thought, I can't do that on camera. Okay, and you'll see it's just bopping back and forth, back and forth. That's because of the ring going over both strings each time. And our beads,
the ring had to go through both rings. Okay.
Both ones each time. And then our bead gets strung on a different one each time. So if we're doing left, we do right, and then back and forth.
Okay, now I got it.
Okay, it's a really simple design, but it just turns out so lovely. And if I get a moment, I might just try, now that I have a little bit of patience and you guys know the routine of the weave, I will try putting on one of those pretty rondelles. Because I can make a pattern of it with a rondelle every 4 rings or whatever it is. So let's see if I can do it now that I have a bit more patience. And look at that, first try. Oh no, it only did one. It always looks like it's going through both.
So
Okay,
you want to put the rondelles through both as well as.
Yeah, I'm just using the rondelle in place of the ring.
I see.
So sometimes if I was finding the other day, if I sort of twisted the ends of the two, they don't stay twisted, but you know, just sort of rub them together, I could get it through the ring easier. So let's see if that works with the rondelle. The rondelle's hole is so much smaller. It's not as easy, but. Now, if you're using a needle on your elastic, much easier, but I don't like using the needles. I find I get all tangled. Okay, good.
Glory, the rondelle is going through the jump ring.
Don't use
Because
both.
my rondelle is small.
Don't use both. You either use the rondelle or the jump ring.
Oh, that's great. Okay.
It's in place of. Okay, so I got one rondelle in. I'm going to add a bead and we'll just see how it looks. I think it's going to be very pretty.
Okay, you try, then I will try.
Okay.
I have both ring and rondelle.
Yes, but you only use one or the other at a time. So how is everyone today? We can chat. You don't have to be muted.
Using the rondelles and it's sort of random. You're not doing a pattern. You're just throwing them in every once in a while.
Well, I will maybe make a pattern if I can do them. I want to see how it looks. This is my experiment part.
Sure.
And then if it looks really nice, then I'll throw in, you know, 4 rondelles and then 4 rings, something along that line. Okay, but I have to see if it pulls it over to the side as well. Oh yeah.
It looks good.
I don't know if it's going to work though. Let's try one more rondelle because I think we need 2 in order to judge whether it's working or not. Yes, it looks pretty, but I don't know if it'll function. Now I did see one of these made with square rondelles and oh my goodness, it was gorgeous. Okay, there. Oops.
I have 4 mm and 6 mm.
Oh, are you doing a staggered size?
No, I have both size, but
Oh,
you
okay.
said use 4 mm, so I'm using 4 mm.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I tend to do the 6 because it's easier to do on camera. Sorry. Now, Thursday's class, we're doing a full Persian bracelet. And I am teaching it with the start of Byzantine, which is just an easier way to get that piece started. There we go. Okay, so let's see. Yeah, it is zigzagging.
It's good. Okay.
Yeah.
So
I'm not really sure if I like it.
Also, can I use a pearl and two, instead of two rings, instead of, can I use two rondel?
I'm not quite sure what the question was, Jagga. Try again.
No, the very first time you used one pearl and two rings, right?
No, one ring. It's one bead, one ring, one bead, one ring.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Okay.
So
I'm gonna
wherever
leave-
you are using ring, I will use rondel, right?
Whichever you would like. Remember,
I
it's your
want to use
piece.
rondel.
All right, so I'm just going to see which one I put the next one on because it's harder to tell with the rondelles. So my ring is, or my bead is going on this side. And I'm going to switch back to rings. I will just do a couple of rondelles near the end. But you can see the zigzag doesn't quite do it with the rondelles. I'm going to take those out.
Yeah, I don't like it.
No, it doesn't fall the same.
No, it doesn't.
Oh, then you want me to use rings. Okay.
If you like the look of it, you go ahead.
No, I will make it, the second one, I will make it with rondel.
Okay. Yeah, I'll practice with some rondelles and throw a few pictures up on my Facebook page to show you. But the rings are so much easier too.
So can you tell me how to start from the beginning, please?
Okay, so take your thread, string, whatever you want to call it, in half, put a bead on it.
Yeah.
And then you put a ring over both.
For both, okay.
Yeah. And then you put a bead on one. And it doesn't matter at that point what side. And then you put a ring on both. And then you have to start the beads on opposite sides. So whatever side you put the second bead, put the third bead on the opposite strand.
Okay, now I got it.
Okay.
Thanks.
You're welcome. Clear as mud, right?
I figured it out, so it can't be too difficult.
Oh.
I'm trying, well, because I don't have enough blue beads or enough black. So I put 2 blue and 2 black, and the black are smaller, and it's turning out very nicely.
Oh yeah,
I
you
think.
can use the different sizes. It's very pretty.
Yeah.
Good. I can't wait to see it at the end. And you know, I would love it if you guys were to post photos on my Facebook. A few people do already. And just post a photo of your finished piece. When I teach in person, I get to see everybody's work. When I do it online, I don't have that option. So it's nice to see it on Facebook at least.
When I was finishing up that spiral chainmail the other night, I slipped and put a pair of pliers about 1/8 of an inch into the side of my hand.
I have a little mark here. I always have marks on my thumbs. I scrape my hands up all the time with my pliers. It happens. We call it a badge of honor. Or battle scars, yeah. Okay. I go through both. Yes.
We always called those the marks of excellence.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah. It happens. We just have to deal with it. I remember, using glue guns, hot glue guns, and just burning myself so badly. Or enameling, heat enameling. I think I burnt off my fingerprints for about a year one time. They have since come back, but you couldn't see anything on the ends of my fingers. They were like smooth. Okay, and we just keep going with that same pattern. You put the bead or the ring on both pieces and the bead on the opposite ones each time. So you just switch back and forth. Did I get that through? Yeah. Didn't look like it went through the one side, but it was just because the zigzag was forming. And I'm just going to keep going. If you have any questions, just ask. This Thursday's class is going to be fun. It's a little more advanced of a chainmail class. We did do it last month, but I figured out a better way of doing the start of it. So I think you'll enjoy it more.
How to sign up for that? Go to the Boomerang site?
Yeah, same as this one.
Okay.
It's just on there. I don't think you can search by me at this point. I think that's an option they're putting in later if you want to search by instructor.
But if you search for a beading class, it should turn up.
Yeah, jewelry. And it's on a Thursday. My chainmail classes are on Thursdays.
Okay, good. I've done a little chainmail a bit, and I
Oh, nice.
enjoyed it. It was time consuming, but boy, it was a great result.
They're stunning. Like I love chainmail. I work a lot with wire and chain. Those are my favorite things. I'm not one of these people that does a lot of beading just because I just find that if I have thread, it will tangle.
Oh, I know what you mean by that.
Yeah, and if it's metal, you cut it out, you start again in that spot. When I started my business, I don't know, 10 or 12 years ago, I had no idea what I wanted to make. I just knew I wanted to do something, and I was always crafty. So I just named it Lori's Crafty Creations. And I refer to it mostly as LCC. And most people sort of know me. I've had friends come up to me and say, oh, I was wearing a bracelet of yours and somebody came up and asked if it was yours. So that's, you know, really lovely to hear every once in a while. But I keep thinking, should I change it to Chainmail Creations or something? But I do too many different things, so I'm just leaving it. Lady Chainmail. Yeah. Most of the chainmailers have these really cool names.
No point in limiting yourself.
No, it's true. Yeah, when I started, I was more doing paper crafts, and then I just fell into the jewelry making by accident. I was teaching paper making, paper crafts at Michael's, and they needed someone to teach jewelry making. So they asked me if I could do it because I was good at teaching. So they figured, you know, I might be okay. And it went from there. And then I wasn't doing paper crafting anymore. I just loved doing the jewelry making. Oops, missed, I think. So those of you that hadn't seen my new camera, I just love it. I think it gives such a better experience to the class, this little webcam. And I just figured if I'm doing all these online classes, might as well invest in a little camera, make your life and my life easier. And the second one.
The bracelet we did last Monday, the spiral weave.
Yeah.
I made one with blue tiger eye.
Oh.
I showed a photo of it to, I have a art group that I meet with on Zoom every Thursday, and I showed it to them, and the next thing I had a bidding war going.
Oh, lovely.
So.
How much did it get?
It stopped at 50.
Wow, very good.
But those blue tiger eye, they're pricey little things.
Yeah, I know.
They're like, where I get my stuff, they're like $12 for a 7-inch strand of 6mm, which is probably about 20 beads.
Yeah.
but they're
There's a-
absolutely beautiful.
Yeah, I remember, I don't know if you remember from like the 80s, 70s, there was all that star sapphire.
Yeah.
Ah, I wish I had some of that.
Um,
Yeah, I have bins of tiger's eye and not blue, but the regular tiger's eye.
yeah, the regular
And-
tiger eye is about a third of the price.
Yeah, and
the
I have
blue.
hematite. Those are my two favorites.
Yeah.
And I just, anytime I see a strand in a different cut or size, I pick them up. I rarely use them. I just keep them. But they're just two of my favorite stones. Now, if you're looking for good stones, Stones and Findings, downtown Toronto, has some really great prices and stones. And their service is spectacular.
Do they have an online presence?
They do. You can order online and have it shipped to you.
Yeah. I'm in the boonies.
Whereabouts?
I live in Port Bruce.
I'm not familiar.
We're right on Lake Erie. We're about 40 miles due south of London.
Oh, okay. I lived in London for a short time.
Okay, well, we're about 40 miles. I'm right on. I'm about a block from the lake, my house.
Mm. No, I'm very much a city girl. I lived in Belleville for many, many years. Went to high school there and college, but it's just not my home. Once my parents were gone, I don't really visit that often. I still have a huge amount of friends there that I've kept over the years from high school and everything. But we chat on Facebook, and I'll go down usually once a year and stay for a week. I was trying to arrange classes there this year. I was going to go down for a couple of weeks and teach classes in the different stores down there. But then our little self-imposed isolation kicked in and put an end to that, but maybe next summer. So I'm just keeping going here. I'm probably about halfway, a third to halfway of the bracelet. And I know it's kind of tedious just watching me bead, but that's the way it goes with beading classes. And I am keeping an eye on the time so that I will finish it so you can see how it's finished. That's the important part here. I was thinking of having one halfway done to show you, but then I thought, no, because I'm likely to drop it. And then I would have to start over again anyways. Okay. So it's like a marionette. You have to sort of pull the strings the right way to get it to set. Every time I look down on it on my board, it's sort of flopped over a bit.
I found some rubber jump rings in my stash, and they're coming up quite nicely.
Oh yeah, the EDIM? I can't remember what they call them, but yeah, those would work really well. I'm going to do a class probably in November using rubber jump rings. So you can make a stretch bracelet. But it'll be chainmail. Probably Byzantine, because by that point everybody will know Byzantine, because I have a couple of upcoming classes with using Byzantine. So in case you didn't hear, Boomerang was saying that they should have the classes up for the rest of October by the end of today or tomorrow. Okay, so go in, book them. I know the Vampire Kiss one is getting a lot of talk. So hopefully we get a lot of people in for that class. It's fun. I'm teaching a separate class with another group, teen group, on Halloween. So we're not doing anything spectacular. We're doing the bird's nest necklace, something that they can do without tools. But I'm going to do up my makeup for Halloween. That way I get to have fun on Halloween, even though we won't be shelling out downstairs. Okay, and my next bead goes on this side. You'll see if you've made a mistake right away because the zig won't zag. You'll see it instantly that you've got one bead out of place. But as you can see, they just come along beautifully. And these glass beads, I picked these up at Marianne's, I don't know, Bead Dynasty quite a while ago, and I've had them in my stash. I have them in purple. Oh, they're right here. You can see I have them in lots of different colors, and they just make this bracelet really nicely. So I may have to make a bunch in those beads. All right, so now I'm on to another ring. If there is anything you would like to learn jewelry-wise with metal and normal stuff, not thread, shoot me a line, let me know. I will look into it. If it's something that I can teach, I will teach you. Some things I just don't feel translate easily enough to the screen, and they make it really difficult to teach.
I would love to try Russian spiral. I'm not sure if that would translate for you, but I'd love to do Russian spiral.
Is that chainmail or beading?
It's beaded. It's the spiral.
Yeah.
Spiral. I've had.
Okay, so Jillian or Pam, who also teaches
Pam
on.
is really good.
Pam is really good. So is Jillian. But I think Pam does that one.
Pam from BeadFX?
Yep.
Yeah, she's lovely.
Yeah, but check with her. She might do it on Boomerang, depending on how long it takes. She
What about
tends to.
Kumihimu with beads?
Oh, I did that one. Yeah, we could do that again. The only thing, I ask people to have their kumi already beaded, like the beads on the string, and I send out the information ahead of time, just because you see me beading here just one bracelet. If I were stringing on small beads for 8 strands, 30 to a strand, it would take me forever. We wouldn't even be able to do the kumi. So that's the only thing. But you can always sign up, watch the class, learn how, and then do it separately.
How long are we supposed to make the bracelet?
Okay, so depending on the bead that you have, that's the spacer bead. Okay, so I'm gonna just lay it here. I will pull this trap out. All right, here we go. Okay, so I've laid the end piece on, and right now I have 5 inches. I would say 7.5 total. You want to measure it with your end piece in, just sitting there. So yeah, I probably got about 4.
Mine already reaches around my wrist without the extra beaded piece, the extra large hole bead.
Okay, so take a couple out and just measure it with the bead on there. And I will finish up here.
I have a really small wrist, so I don't have to make.
Oh, okay. Yeah, well, I made the one I wore. I was thinking I would give it to my sister for Christmas, but if it fits me, it won't fit her. So I'm going to make this one, or maybe I'll make another one a bit bigger. Depends on how much time we have. It only takes a moment to finish it. So we'll see. I won't hold you guys hostage while I finish this one if it is going to be taking too long. I will just finish it off. And then I can always cut it open and redo it later. Not to worry. I've done that many times. All right, so I'm just going to keep going. I've got maybe 5 or 6 more beads, I think, to do, just to get it to the length I want. So yeah, in the end of October for chainmail, we're doing Byzantine. And then once you learn Byzantine, we're going to do one that's called Romanov. And I had the sample out here, but I think I tossed it in my bag. It's just a Byzantine variation. And I think in November, I will do another Byzantine variation of Byzantine lace or laced Byzantine. I want to do European 4-in-1 because that's another really handy one to have. So if you have any suggestions of what you want to learn, just let me know. October also has the hand flower class with the chainmail. That is a very long class. I've scheduled it for an hour and a half. You probably won't finish in time during the class, but not to worry, you'll finish it on your own. It's one of those where once you get started, you'll know how to do it. So we'll do the hand portion, the wrist portion, the finger portion, and then we'll start on the hand part, the part that goes over your hand, and we'll get a few rows done, hopefully, and then you'll finish it on your own. But if you have any problems finishing any project, just email me. I can always talk you through it. Okay. And another ring. Oh, something just sort of shook my building here. Okay. And, oh, I forgot to put my beads back in here to hold it up. Sorry, should have told me I was out of camera. Yeah, so it's a little bubbly thing with the glass beads. I really like the look of it. And I think every time I've done it now, I've used bicone crystals, I've used round crystals, and now I'm using round glass beads. And it turns out different looking each time, but really stunning. So I don't think you can go wrong with this one.
Do we end with a bead or with a jump ring?
I like to end it with a bead because I started with a bead, right? Oops. And put that through there. It's getting rather heavy, the glass beads.
Will it hold the elastic, the heavy beads?
Oh yeah, on a 0.7, sure. If it's a really, like this one, I just use the 0.5. Oops. And it's not light because it is glass. Okay, so I'm going to use the longer tube one. So I want to measure again. Oh, there we go. Turn it to inches. So I'm at 7, 3 more beads and I'll be done. Okay. And then we can tie it. So the tying part is very similar to the regular stretch bracelets. We're just gonna thread it through the spacer bead. Keep missing that one thread. We'll put it through. And it's a little bit different way of tying it. We're gonna tie it in the same knot we use for stretch bracelets, but there's a little trick to it. Okay, there we go. Sorry, it's giving me a little hard time here trying to figure out which string I'm using next. There we go. Okay. So if you want to do beaded kumi again, I can do that. We'll even do it with smaller beads this time. I know I used big beads last time just so that everybody could see it better, but I think if we do smaller beads, it'll be much more fun. So basically, when it goes on the calendar, you'll see the supplies and you just bead your 8 strands. I'll give instructions for that pre-booking part and we'll get it done.
Sounds good.
Okay. But it will be in November because I've already pre-booked all of October's classes.
No
And I was
problem.
just looking at my calendar for November. Okay. And this one. So Jaga, did you keep doing with the rondelles?
No,
Oh, okay.
I'm keeping it for later.
Okay. Let me know how it goes.
Okay. Yep, for sure.
I'll probably do some later. I'm trying not to do too much right now. I'm resting my eye until it's fully back to normal.
I think it'll look nice when I use the bigger rondelle, 6 mm.
Yeah. Yeah, I think the rondelles that I grabbed out from my studio were a little bit smaller than I want. Okay, let me just look. I think I may have a problem here on the last one. Yep. Went through on the same strand for the bead, and it just didn't zag.
Should have zagged.
Yeah, it zigged where it should have zagged, or zagged where it should have zigged. Just didn't look right. My cats are into something in the kitchen. I can hear them. Okay. Yeah, there we go. Okay, so just maybe a couple more and then I'm ready to tie off. Yeah, I've already been doing my Christmas shopping and Christmas crafts. Oh my gosh. Trying to get everything ready so I can ship things. I did invest in a bunch of resin kits. Now, resin isn't something I can teach online, but when we're back together, I have now a bunch of resin kits that we can use to make our own jewelry. Okay, so I'm just going to give it a quick measure again. 7. It's not quite there yet. Has anyone played with resin before?
Only a little bit.
Yeah, it's fun. I really like it. You can put all your leftover little bits and bobs in the resin and make pretty things. It's a great way of using up the last of everything. Yeah.
My grandmother did resin in the 60s, I think.
Oh, yeah.
She made kind of grape bunches, and I can't remember, but I remember her whole basement was full of the resin stuff.
Oh, wow. Yeah, it's changed a lot.
I imagine since the 60s, yes.
Yeah. Well, I remember my sisters, I'm the youngest of 7, so I remember my sisters doing macrame all the time. I had wall hangings like crazy of macrame. And now it's all back. People are loving macrame again. All the plant hangers.
I did plant hangers.
Yeah. My sisters did these silly little poodle things, and you brush out part of their hair.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I
Or
had
the
those.
owls.
Yeah, yeah.
I have an owl.
Is that Vera? No. I thought that was Vera saying she had an owl.
Oh, Sonia.
Oh, hi, Sonia. My sister collects owls, or used to. I don't know if she still does, but I remember doing her a pastel painting of an owl one year when I was in high school. She still has it. My mother had it framed as a gift for her. I did the picture, she did the framing cost. But yeah, one of my best works, I think. Okay, I'm gonna do one more set. So one more ring and then one more bead, and then we will tie it off. I have no idea what those cats are into, but I can hear them in the recycling. My husband is not in the room. Oh, well. All right, last bead goes on this side. There we go. If I can pick it up, if I can already see the hole when it's sitting on my mat, then I can pick it up and thread it easier. So, okay, so I have my strand, nice big long one. And I'm going to thread both threads one at a time. It works easier through my tube. Now I'm using a long tube. You can use a short tube. You can use a single bead. Doesn't matter as long as it has a big hole so you can hide your knot. Let's come on, please. I thought this big tube would be easier, but I think it's a little bit more difficult. There we go. One through and then the other through. Now I'm only going to be able to show how to do it the one time. So when I'm ready, I will let you know and you can concentrate on this. It's quite simple. You'll catch it really easily. Don't worry. And you'll have the video. I think these rhinestones are blinding me as I'm trying to do it. Okay, so I have both strands through. Now I want it to join here. So what I want to do, and I wish I had a clip here. I'm just going to try and hold on to those nice and tight. I want to just shimmy it down a little bit so that I can get the little bit of elastic at the very end into a loop. Okay. Now the easiest way I've found is I grab a pair of round nose pliers, closed, place them through, open them just slightly, and take both pieces of my cord, my elastic, tighten it up, and then slide this over here, and I have them through. Okay?
Oh,
So,
good.
okay, so now this is the tricky part. What you do is you bring it down and around, and I'm going to hold it with my fingers. So it's wrapped around these two fingers. Whoops, both of them. It's a good thing about the camera. I look at the camera and I can see that I didn't have both wrapped. So I'm going to wrap it around, and I'm going to go through this hole twice with the ends. Once, and then twice. Gently and carefully pull it so that that knot is tight into your work. You don't want the knot to end up out here. You want it right in there. So, oops. Okay, let me try that again because I must have twisted it the wrong way. Okay, through the hole twice. I must have gone back through the hole the other way. Let me try. Oh, goodness. Okay, I may have to get this through here again. Yeah.
So it's a surgeon's knot?
It's a surgeon's knot, yes. I think I only tied it with one strand, unfortunately, but that's okay. I'm just going to tie the other strand on. And then just to make it really secure, go do that a couple of times. So I make the loop.
But it's going to hide inside the tube anyway.
Yeah. So make it as big as you can, not to worry. And just do a few knots right there. Now it doesn't, like it won't slide fully in there, but it hides it. Okay, and that's my finished piece. I'm just going to trim those two little bits off, and I'll put it on so you can see it, because the piece that I used has a curve to it.
Aren't you going to glue it?
No, I never glue. Whoop.
Ooh!
Guess I should have. Oh, I caught it. Okay. Oh, I caught it and it didn't break. All right, so I'm not sure what happened there. It's probably my vision. I just didn't see that I didn't have it through that hole properly. because that's what happened. It didn't go through the other end. So I will put that back together. That's easy fix. I didn't trim it too close, so I'm okay. But yeah, just tie it in a surgeon's knot. Pretend that my tube is here. I'm going to go through that little bit at the end of my piece and tie it and tie it. You go through the whole of your loop twice and tighten, and make sure it's tightened right up against your piece. Okay, so this needs to go down here a lot more. There we go. All right, so I will finish that one up after. We have about 8 minutes. So any questions? I'm going to switch cameras. I'm glad it didn't break.
Yeah.
I did it up to this much.
Okay. Yeah, beautiful. And
Thanks.
like I was saying, each crystal or bead that you use comes out so differently. But I really love this combination, the silver and blue. And I think when I attach this, it's going to be a really stunning piece of jewelry. And if I can't attach that one at this point, I'll take one of the smaller ones and do it.
Do you have any other finished ones to show us?
I have the one that I was wearing. I'll slide it on. And the red one that I did with the clasp I have in the bathroom. Sorry, I didn't bring it out, but that's it. And that's the little.
And that's done with 2 different colored beads?
Yeah, which I really like.
Yeah.
I think it pops the level of beauty up a little bit.
It does.
You can do them in, like I did 2-tone blue. You can do purple and blue. You can do whatever colors you like.
There are no bead police. You can do whatever.
I'm sorry?
There are no beading police. You can do
Oh,
whatever.
there's some people that think they are. Okay, so post your work on my Facebook page, Lori's Craft Classes or Lori's Crafty Creations. I don't even care which one. They're sort of intermerged. So